Welcome back to another video. You probably already know from the title that today we're going to be looking at a green screen on an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, one of the issues that the iPhone 14 Pro Max have is that the flex cable loses continuity on some lines, and sometimes that requires something like a jumper to be run, so we're first going to see if we can diagnose that. If that's not the issue, there is the possibility that this screen saw some water damage. So if I can't troubleshoot it with jumpers or testing with the test points, that's what we're going to look for. So let's get started. Alright, so I've got this 14 Pro Max screen. This is a 14 Pro phone, but for testing purposes, they're compatible. I don't happen to have another 14 Pro Max phone or screen to test this, but I'm going to go ahead and connect up power, and we're going to see the green screen, common failure on the 14 Pro Max. And today I'm going to see if we can fix it. Should be able to hear the phone come on. There it is. So let's see what it's going to take to fix this. I'm going to go and scrape away at some of the traces and run some jumpers. I have some 14 Pro screens that I've collected some data from by scraping away at the traces. So I have an idea of the values that I should be getting depending on the location. So hopefully using that data I'll be able to come up with something to get this screen to come back instead of glitch out like it is. Alright, so here we've got this iPhone 14 Pro Max. You can see the model is A21-04231. And I'm going to start by just gently scraping off some of the black coating. Under it, we've got the orange flex cable. It just gets painted in a layer of black. And in that flex, we've got a bunch of little, almost test points that we could potentially tie into. So these two right here are common places to tie into on this model. I want to scrape down beyond the orange and get to the shiny copper, like that. Alright, so here I've got an iPhone 14 Pro screen, and if I look at those same two lines, I'm just checking the resistance. I'm getting 0.18 here and 1.04 on those lines. If I do the same, 0.18, 1.09, pretty dang close. So let's start checking another line. Alright, let's check these other four. 1.66 on that line. This one says OL, 166 as well. And OL, let's check against the 14 Pro. OL, 148. That's close. Alright, so I'm not finding any issues with the test points. So the next thing we've got to do is carefully remove part of the frame of the bezel. You can remove the whole thing, but that requires installing a new one to get it back on the phone, and I have a way to remove part of the bracket so that we can access the portion of the flex cable that typically sees water damage and causes this issue. So let me show you that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and cut off some of the bezel so we can see if it's just water damage, because that might be the case. And then I'm just going to peel it back. Just scoring it, I'll kind of shear away like a tin can lid. And I'll shear it away from the other side. You can remove the entire bezel. I might end up having to do that, but then that would require you to glue a new bezel back on. I don't have one at the moment. Alright, and we'll break it away from the last section there. Let's see if we can uncover any potential issue or water damage or something like that. Gently see if we can lift up the sticker. And apart from corrosion, what I'm going to be looking for is dark lines coming off of the display flex here. That indicates oxidation and no more solid contact with the flex cable and the display. Oh, look at that. We have uncovered some liquid damage. Let's get that in focus. Right there, a little bit of corrosion. It's a small amount, but I've seen less cause issues with the display. You can see it got trapped here under the sticker. What the heck is that? It's almost like a spider, but it's so small and red. Where'd you come from? Alright, so what I'm going to do is we'll just gently clean up this area with some isopropyl alcohol and see if that can fix the issue. I'm going to start with a Q-tip. You can get a sense of how small we're working if that's the size of a Q-tip. Add some isopropyl alcohol, and we'll gently scrub away all of the corrosion that we can see. And hopefully in doing so, we'll bring back to life this display. Now it doesn't look like it burned any of the traces through the flex. They all look the same color. So let's see if that did it. Alright, let's see if cleaning up that area fixed it. So we'll go ahead and connect up to power. Get the battery. Let's go ahead and prompt it to boot. Still have green screen, but now at least found the area of concern. Now I'm going to carefully scrape away the glue. It's basically no longer attached here anyway. Need to be very careful not to damage any of the traces when I go do this. You can almost see a delamination that happened to the flex, so heating this up might be the solution to basically relaminate the layers. These contact points, all of these teeny microscopic contact points, aren't really soldered together. They're more adhered together. But I still see some what I would consider oxidation layers. I'm just going to gently skate the edge of this blade over those areas and scrape away the corrosion. And let's clean that up again. There's one little dark spot there on that flex, but we might be okay now. Alright, we'll connect the display, connect the battery again. Let's see if this time we get still a green screen. Probably green screen. Alright, so no amount of jumper wires would have fixed this one. The real way to do this would be to completely laminate a brand new or used flex. Alright, I'm going to come in with the hot air here, and I'm going to hit that area. Try to do this without burning the display at all.
1 hour later.
Alright, so I'm going to try next is using my soldering iron to basically act as a laminator. I've got it set at just 120 degrees Celsius. And I'm just going to go over all of the flex here that seem to have delaminated this area with that temperature. I'm just going to basically try to see if I can relaminate it. I don't know if this will work, but I'm going to go test it, and we'll up the temperature if it doesn't work. I don't want to burn anything, so I'm starting really low. This is more just an experiment at this point. I can already see less movement under the flex. This area was there's a lot of movement here before. I'll try that. Alright, I'm taking the temperature up to 260 on this, and we're going to see if going over this real quick works, and we'll go and test it in a second. Alright, let's see after taking the temperature up even more on the iron if we have a green screen or if we've brought back the display, or at least part of the display. So let's go ahead and try to power it on. I think the battery's dead, but oh, look at that. Hey, we've got an image now. Obviously we got lines going down this side, so I'm going to try to correct that. But yeah, so that's cool. Alright, let me go and see if we can correct for the lines on the side of the display. Oh, and we're back to green screen. Okay, I'm on to something. Alright, so I'm back to having lines on the side. At least there's no more green screen. I'm still going to try to figure this out, but this might be where we wrap up the video. I'm going to try cleaning up the area one more time now that I've been applying a bunch of heat. Maybe it's pushed out some corrosion and stuff. I'm glad that I have an image back, just not exactly what I want. Pull that off. Let's try a little bit more heat with the iron on just the edge here. I'm going to use some pressure here with the flat to kind of help push it down as I go over and try to laminate it. Maybe that extra pressure will help prevent it from springing back while it cools down. Alright, let's see if this one works. Plug it in, and let's see if we get any life out of it. Green screen. I think I found the issue. So right there, you can see that almost like a little crack. I think that during one of the times where I wasn't under the microscope trying to laminate it, I nicked the edge. You can see I nicked the edge of the flex. So although we got image back, the display itself I think is damaged, and that's why even when I do make everything work, we still have issues on that one side with the line. So I don't think it would have worked at all. I don't think we really got that much of an image if there was delamination. I think it's now just busted right there because of my little trying to get it on camera issue. There we go, it's back. So yeah, I think I damaged the display flex because it's coming on. Now obviously it being on a 14 Pro is going to make it look a little funky at the bottom. And actually we can see the whole display given that the damage here. You know, I wonder if, I don't know. You know, that lines up so perfectly. I wonder if that's just what happens on a 14 Pro Max screen when you're putting it on a 14 Pro for testing. Maybe because the display actually curves down there. That's why we get these weird lines. I think it might be damaged, but the only way for me to know is to test this screen on a 14 Pro Max phone, and I don't have one. So, but that's pretty cool to be able to come back from some liquid damage to the point where it's actually usable, even if it might be. Yeah, look, we get some weird lines here, similar to lines there. So it might just be that it's totally fine. I'll update you guys in the comments if I find out that it's totally fine when it goes back on a phone. Alright, so here's the phone. Obviously, it looks like it's working just fine. We've got the lines. You can obviously see that we get the weird lines down below the display off to the side of the display. So I'm wondering if it's just because we're trying to test it on a phone that isn't designed for this screen that we're going to get some weird lines. Or maybe it's damaged. Which one do you think it is? Do you think it's okay? Or do you think that there's actual damage to the edge of the display? I will update you when I find out. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.